happens to be our guest of honor is a very special person who definitely took the road less traveled. Popularly known as the Clothing Man, the Ashoka Fellow and the Global Ambassador of Ashoka, he is creating a mass movement for recycling and reusage of tons of waste material. Recently, he was awarded the Social Entrepreneur of the Year by the Schwab Foundation, which is the sister concern of the World Economic Forum. He is a regular speaker in many parts of the world, speaking about innovation, leadership, village development, power of youth, and of course, social entrepreneurship. Sir, it is such a pleasure to have you here. Could I please kindly request you to come on stage and address the gathering? Could I please have a big round of applause for our guest of honor?
Hi, Jahan. So, I have two options here. One is that I make a decent, really some speech, which then you can transcribe and maybe circulate it. And the second option is that I talk about the realities, hardcore realities, and realities are always disturbing. I opt for the second, personally. The other thing is that it's up to you. I mean, if you want me to speak in Hindi, I can speak in Hindi or in English, whatever way you want. English? And the realities, okay, wow. So, this is one story which in any case I'll be sharing, because this is why I'm here. But, before that, my whole question is that why do we need any such effort in this country? That's the core question. And as I said, that my next half an hour is going to be a bit disturbing because I will try to challenge a lot of concepts, lot of misconceptions. Lot of people across the globe now call us a development organization. And I often wonder that are we really a development organization? Why do I question? Because I think that the development can happen when the society lives on zero. So 0 to 10 is development. And when I talk about this country, I find the society living below zero. So I often wonder, when you bring people from minus to zero, is this development or just a survival? So are we not working towards making sure that people survive? Maybe because many of us who are sitting here, who are the biggest products, outcomes of the subsidy of this country, because this is the same country where we often challenge, the moment any kind of thing happens for farmers, we are very much worried about subsidy. And I personally feel that maybe the biggest product of subsidy is standing in front of you. Why do I say that? Because I come from a very average, middle class, honest middle class family. India has two kinds of middle class, you all know that. I come from a very honest middle class family. I did my mass communications from IMC in 1991. And I often wonder that if the government subsidy was not there for that kind of course, was it possible for my parents to give me this kind of education? If that time the fees would have been 50,000 rupees, I know my parents were not able to afford it. Today I challenge subsidies all across, without understanding that whatever we are talking about, in the last few presentations, the fact remains that we are not doing any great deal. The fact remains that it is ultimately our responsibility, because we want this country to look good. One very, series of questions which I just need to ask you. Why do I ask that? Well, I personally feel that somewhere the anger is gone. Somewhere we have accepted the status quo. Somewhere things do not bother us. Tell me one thing. Have you ever questioned that why should I pay toll tax on every single black road in this country? क्या आपने आज तक ये सवाल पूछा कि हर एक काली सड़क पर मैं टोल टैक्स क्यों पे करूं? When the road is made, it is out of my tax money. The big part of the bribe is out of my tax money. Every time I cross a particular lane, I pay toll tax. So I often wonder that if you make a road where I can drive at a speed of 100-150 kilometers, you charge toll tax, I am ready to pay. But if I can only drive at a speed of 50-60 kilometers, that too to my own place or my institute, why should I pay toll tax? But I never question. How many of you in this country have ever seen a water bill where it is written कि ये पानी नहाने और कपड़े धोने का है, that this water is meant for washing clothes or having bath? Have you ever seen a water bill like that in this country? Do you know of any other country where every single house has a water purifier? When we pay for the drinking water, how come it does not flow in the pipes? Have you ever questioned? Why do I pay for the water? Why do I buy drinking water? Why do I buy an RO system and then pay AMC also? मेरे पाइप में पीने का पानी क्यों नहीं आता? मैं तो पीने के पानी का पैसा देता हूं. Do we question? These are very, very fundamental basic issues. When the transformer is there, when the electricity is there, how come the current is not there at my place? Why should I buy an inverter? Why should I earn for a soundless generator? Why the current is not there for me? Do we have an answer? Is it not right that we have accepted the status quo and we are just looking for shortcuts? 1.5 years back, a massive rape happened in Delhi. The entire country stood up. A lot of people from Mumbai and from many other cities, all the social media was totally full that Delhi people are like this. After a few months, you found a case in the Shakti Mills of Mumbai and maybe the 5th or 6th case was reported. So many other cases are not even reported. Now every single day you hear the stories of rapes. Do we ever get up? Do we think the country has become safe? बताइए देखिए, I'm not here to share this story. I'm again telling you because this is very much available on the website and all that. If you Google about Goonj story, some links you will certainly find. I am here to raise these basic issues that somewhere which is our basic responsibility, how come we are not doing that? I do not want this to remain a good lecture at ISB, because in any case, a lot of lectures must be happening at this campus. I don't want to be remembered as a good lecture person only in the ISB. I just want to question all these things. Because the fact remains that for the last 15 years we are trying to do this. Many other organizations are doing whatever work they can, but the fact also remains that we hardly see the impact. The quantitative impact can happen because figures are very easy to fudge and promote and talk about. But somewhere we always wonder that do we really make a major qualitative impact? Do we have the ecosystem ready for such kind of initiatives? एक आखिरी सवाल, the last question which I ask you. Tell me the safest place in your life where you feel safe in this country. My whole talk is about this country. Home? Home? Sorry? Old daughter or sibling alone at home. If you do not leave someone who is 2 years, 3 years old, it is absolutely understandable. गैस चला देगी, स्विच में उंगली डाल देगी बच्ची, कुछ गिर जाएगा. 10 to 12 years old girl, this time in this phase of the country is a pretty mature girl. And we, the citizen of the country, cannot leave that little girl alone at the safest place in our life. Now do you understand where do we stand? Do you understand that it is not by choice but by compulsion that we try to do something in our life? Not to become a social entrepreneur or to get some awards, but because it is a compulsion, because we want a safe life. We do not want to live like a cockroach. And the fact also remains that in this country, the issues are totally different. This country is bothered maybe because of the non-issues, not only because of the issues. 15 years back, we touched upon absolutely non-issue. A very mundane thing, which is called clothing. Clothes to people. When you talk about three basic needs of humankind, you say roti, kapda aur makan, food, cloth and shelter. When you talk about development issues across the globe, you have 150 issues from domestic violence to global warming. You will never find clothing written as a subject. Cloth is a disaster relief material or a charitable subject or object. The Anath Ashram, the other friend was just talking about, is always full of cloth. We all know that in Anath Ashram, we only need clothes for the kids up to 10 years. We do not even spend 5 minutes or 2 minutes in thinking before giving our Dadaji's clothes to the Anath Ashram. How many people give without a disaster or without charity? Why do people in the villages need earthquake or flood before receiving the clothes? When earthquake is a disaster, flood is a disaster, how come winters are not a disaster? Why don't we have figures of people who die or suffer due to lack of clothing in winters? In earthquake, the shake kills people, the fall of building kills people. In floods and now the tsunami, the excess, the force of water kills people. In the winters, the cold does not kill people, because if the cold kills people, even I would have died. I survived, someone else died on the road. It is certainly not the cold, but the lack of clothing. 1991, I did my journalism and I was roaming around on the roads of Old Delhi. Old Delhi is the hub of a story, and the story and the place for the migrant people from all across the country. Any given day you have 100,000 to 300,000 homeless people in the city. It all depends, the figure depends on the agency which does the survey. Very simple. But it is in thousands, it is in lakhs. A lot of people suffer, a lot of people die due to hunger, lack of attention, lack of medicine, cold, whole lot of issues. The local police informed this person called Habib Bhai. We just lost him on this 10th of March. Habib Bhai with his blind wife, Amna Begum, would go, pick up the dead body, bring it to the crematorium. For every single dead body, he was paid 20 rupees and 2 meters of white cloth. One fine morning on my scooter, I just saw him while looking for a story, followed him, and then spent about a week with him to understand what is this guy doing. So morning walk up, a child playing in the park, PCR van of the police will come to Habib Bhai, will inform him that there is a dead body lying there. Habib Bhai would go and pick up the dead body. That's a normal cycle. Two statements came up. Habib Bhai said, कि साहब जाड़ों में मेरा धंधा बढ़ जाता है, कभी कभी इतना काम होता है कि मुझसे संभलता नहीं. In winters my work goes up, many times I have so much of work that I cannot handle it. To my utter surprise, he was actually picking up 10 to 12 dead bodies every 24 hours within the range of 3 to 4 kilometers where his rickshaw was able to go. In the summers, the average used to be 4 to 5. He had a little daughter, Kanis Bano, thus my daughter, almost of the same age, who gave the most shocking statement by saying कि जब मुझे ठंड लगती है तो मैं लाश के साथ चिपक कर सो जाती हूँ. She further said, लाश तंग नहीं करती, लाश करवट नहीं बदलती. When I feel cold, I hug the dead body and sleep. It does not trouble me, it does not turn around. a few kilometers away from this kid, people like us stay, our wardrobes are full, we are looking for, maybe waiting for a disaster to happen and then give away our old clothes and all. A child is forced to sleep with a dead body to keep herself warm, just because we never understood that cloth is a subject and winters are ultimately a disaster. And also, outside a hospital in the middle of the city where you have a footfall of 5,000, 6,000 people, if a child is forced to sleep with a dead body to keep herself warm, what about the remaining part of the country? What about the remaining part of the world? That was an issue. We started working on cloth in 98-99 with about 67% clothes. Today we deal with more than 1,000 tons of material. I'll come to that. How do we do that? While working on cloth in 2004-2005, we raised another issue, rather a non-issue, and a very taboo subject. We often do not want to talk about it. We said that every single woman across the globe needs a piece of cloth, which is now called a sanitary pad. Have you ever thought that in a country where a woman does not have enough to cover herself, from where and how she brings that piece of cloth? And can you imagine? 2004-2005, if you go on Google, type sanitary pad, sanitary napkin, you will find the tampons and cups and all kind of fancy products from all other countries, not even a single major research in India, no problem statement, no solution. This is a country where you have the largest number of self-help groups, very vibrant microfinance, lot of health initiatives. Everywhere the target is women, nowhere we speak about sanitary pad. We started traveling across the country to understand the issue, because health was not our issue. We were just trying to look for a relation of the cloth with this. And we obviously found that in this country, two women sharing one sari is a very common story. When the sari is made for the poorer part of the country, it is very tactfully reduced to 3.5 meters instead of traditional 5 meters, just to reduce the cost. And that too, it is a synthetic sari. So how do the women actually bring that piece of cloth? Some of the findings. They use the dirtiest piece of cloth, they wash it, they cannot dry it in sunlight because of obvious reasons. Washing itself is a major problem, because these days, the life in the slum and in the villages, life depends on public taps. Public taps in the name of public convenience are always put up at a public place. So there is no privacy even to take a bath. How do you wash this piece of cloth? With moisture and dust, they wear it again. Then we found that you have 2 to 3 women in the family, their cycles are different, they're sharing the same piece of cloth. We further found that not only within the family, it is the property of many women of a village. They find a dingy hidden corner, put an earthen or tin ka dabba, earthen pot or a tin ka dabba. Anybody wants can take it, wash it, whatever way, put it there. Any other women wants it will take it and use it. We found that millions of women, not only in this country, in many parts of the world, are actually using things like sand, ash, jute gunny bags, dari ka tukda, bori ka tukda, mitti, ghas, pual, which is dry grass, to plastic sheet. Anything and everything which can absorb, which can stop, is being used as a sanitary pad. We found a case next to Agra where a lady used a piece of blouse which had a hook, she died of tetanus. In Tamil Nadu, a case came up where a centipede entered and the lady died. Today we know that a large number of uterus removal exactly at childbearing age is happening because of lack of this piece of cloth. Because the moment an infection happens, your corrupt health system quacks will tell you that now you have chances of cervical cancer, or the cancer has already set in. And as I said, exactly at the childbearing age, your uterus will be removed. Recent surveys by some agencies tell us that 88% of Indian women do not have access to sanitary pad. Do you understand the meaning of 88% of Indian female population? It is equivalent to the population of many countries put together. This is where the country is. I mean, we are pretty busy in creating Taj Mahal like Mumbai airport. You see from the top, you see a slum. You enter in a Taj Mahal, you come out, you see a slum. You go to the airport, you don't know how to flush and how to drink water. 80-90% of Indian railway stations even today do not have usable toilet. So there is something drastically wrong. And people like us are the planners. People like us do plan. People like us have the voice in the development of this country. And imagine, I just gave you two different dimensions of something which has been not a subject, which has been absolute non-issue. We started working. Two things before I move to this collection of pictures. One, we wanted to introduce the subject, clothing as a subject, but we also wanted to reposition, because we said that whenever you say, I want to donate cloth, that's the wrongest statement, that's an overstatement, because you never donate, you actually discard. Something which you have already used for a year or two, to the core, with what right do you say that I am donating it? It's a burden on you, you want to get rid of it, that's why you are giving it. Am I going to give this watch? No. I only give what I don't need. And I still claim that I am donating it. So this needs to be repositioned. Maybe in your app also. It's not donation at all. Rather, we need to be thankful to the people who are using our second-hand material, because they are the people who are extending the life cycle of something on which we have spent our hard-earned money. The second part. This material in a very systematic manner, go to the villages, I'll tell you how. We found that the biggest asset of village people in this country is something called self-respect, is something called dignity. Because you do not find beggars in the villages. Begging is a city phenomenon. That's why we don't support charity. That's why we want to turn it around. Because they never come and ask for anything. We came up with a major initiative which is now called Cloth for Work. In many parts of the country, we are actually now taking care of a large number of infrastructure work. Instead of money, people are receiving cloth, utensils, footwear. It is actually the genesis of a parallel currency. Lot of jargons, lot of talk, here is the work. So this is how we collect. Lot of people in Chandigarh also became a part of it. Varun did a lot. Because we were the people with some friends, we started something called Joy of Giving Week. Many of you must be knowing. Now the name is changed to Danotsav, which many of us do not agree, but still, because we didn't want to keep an English name for this kind of initiative. We wanted to involve the rural population and all. But this collection happens always. I mean, it keeps on happening. We also have a lot of campaigns. You must have heard Ek Jodi Kapda with Whirlpool, Share the Language of Love It, Johnson Babies and all. This entire material comes to the processing center. Processing is a very important part of our work, because the biggest problem is so-called donation, is that you give what you have, you don't give what people need. Which other friend proved just now. So if you talk about women clothing in India, what we collect from the cities is ladies' suits, jeans, t-shirts. 80-90% of rural India still need sari, blouse, petticoat or the traditional dress. If you talk about Indian urban male like me, we are 32 to 40. Indian rural male is 26 to 30. So it is size, shape, geography, culture, a lot of things. We just take care of it in this particular part. In the Q&A I can tell you the nitty-gritties of it. And then it goes to the villages. Is this visible, or do we want to switch off the lights and all? Is okay? This is how the Cloth for Work starts happening. These are 2,000 people on a particular day in one part of Bihar, where with the local resources they started working post-Kosi flood in 2008 and repaired an entire stretch of about 2 kilometers of road. The moment we found that, and we found a road where we can walk, where we can have our own vehicle, which the vehicle can go, we started putting pressure on the government, because the fact remains the government has a lot of money for a lot of schemes, so this is never utilized. Because the people, the citizens of that part do not even know that the money is there. The citizens started putting pressure on the government. After almost a week, we found that the government has approved this road. Today, if you go to this place in Alamnagar, exactly same stretch, you see this, you have a proper black tar motorable road. So the first step was taken by the citizens who made this road with the local resources. No money was paid, no wages was paid, people were paid in cloth, utensil, footwear, whatever we collect. We are just trying to revive the wells in the country because this is the source, this is the traditional source of water, and wells are drying. So in many areas we are digging up new wells, many areas we are reviving these wells. This is the story of Salidhana in Madhya Pradesh, a village which never had water for many years, and they really had to go far off to bring some water. People worked and they got the water. The moment we found the water, we again started putting pressure on the government, and we said that 50-60% work we have done. Now it is your job to make it pakka, to make it concrete, to make it deep. After a lot of struggle, it was actually taken in a NREGA, Rural Employment Guarantee Scheme. People were also paid wages, and this is how this well has come up. Please remember that whatever picture you see, this is something where the monetary currency, the money, is not being exchanged. Couple of years back, NASA and US State Department, they chose 9 innovations across the globe as game-changing innovation, and this model was one of those innovations. And a very beautiful statement came up which says that this is the genesis of parallel economy, which is not cash-based, which is trash-based. So trash of one part of the society can actually become the resource for other part of the society for development. Look at this bridge. This is 220 feet by 6 feet strong, sturdy bridge. So many people can actually go. Totally made by local wisdom, local resources. Can you imagine how much money we spent? In making this bridge on the spot, what we spent was 2,250 rupees. Every single person contributed a bamboo or two and a few days of labor, and that's how this bridge has come up. The moment again we found the bridge, we started negotiating with the government. Today you go to a village called Sukhas and you find this proper motorable bridge connecting many villages. And the fact remains that the maintenance cost is very low because when you make it, you maintain it. Uttarakhand last year, was a massive disaster. We have already reached out to about 400 villages in a very extensive manner, and we are still there with 3 offices and about 50 full-time, part-time people. We even dignified the relief. The first level of relief, which was basic food or medicine, was free. But the second level, which was winter clothing and all, this is a place where they lost the bridge in that entire disaster. This is how they started working on this. This women took an initiative and then they created this bridge. No money, only thing these people got was the winter kits. Eastern India, pond is the most common source of water, rather only source of water. You have schemes to create new ponds, you do not have a scheme to repair or clean the ponds. This is how we fill up the gap. People, this is one Odisha village. That's how people get into this as a part of clotho work and clean the pond. Just to give you the glimpses how it happens, it is in the most tribal belts of India with no JCB machines, nothing at all. This is how people, do these work in the tough terrains. One very basic principle of Bhoonj is that whatever we find on the road which is not utilized and it is a government leftover, we do capture that. We take care of it and use it where it was supposed to be used. We have planted the trees are growing, we put a steel wire and it becomes a boundary wall. So this particular initiative is not one of those top-down kind of approach where every single village will have Pradhan Mantri Gram Sadak Yojana. No. This is where the villagers decide maybe in some particular village people need to clean the pond. That is a much desperate need than creating a road. One more initiative called School to School, where we connect urban and rural school, not by charity. Again, we try to see whether the kid is coming to the school on time or not. Whole lot of things, and then kids are rewarded. Now, whenever we talk about education in India, we talk about teacher-student ratio, we talk about education policy, we talk about all big things. But the education really hamper for absolutely different kind of thing. I mean, I'll just give you one example. A government school, in any state works around 180, 200 days, that too when the teacher is not assigned the election duty and all that. Out of 180, 200 days, a girl does not go to the school for almost 50 to 60 days because she does not have a sanitary pad. At the age of 11, 12, 13, she leaves the school when the menses starts in village India because she does not have a place to change. So we always question that education is hampering just because of education policy or teacher-student ratio, or there are certain hidden things. I think you all must have read the recent news in Odisha. Did you? Where a girl committed suicide because of the stationery? Do Google and find this story. Just because she didn't get the stationery, she committed suicide. It looks very funny to all of us. Maybe because we are the privileged lot. This is how we are just trying to, turn Anganwadi into a very colorful place because it has been a very dry place with some 50-100 grams of cooked food. The impact is when you provide all these toys and colorful chart papers which we collect from the urban school. It says पहले बच्चा आता नहीं था, बच्चा जाता नहीं. That's the only difference which, with about 80, 90 toys in an Anganwadi. This is what we do in terms of sanitary pad. In the last few years, we have created about 2.5 million pads like this. This is nothing, just a piece of cotton cloth, which is a traditional Indian practice. Say, a few years back, even the most affluent family were using the same thing because there was no access to the sanitary pad. The market never had so many options. This is something which we take out when we collect huge amount of clothes. So all the cotton, semi-cotton cloth is converted into sanitary pad. This is supposed to be the cheapest possible sanitary pad, environment-friendly product because it is biodegradable just because it's a cotton cloth. It is reusable. Also, we do not use it as a product, we use it as a tool just to open up the subject. Because the most important part is that women start understanding that it is a problem, which is not happening right now. This is a major campaign which we have just launched, many of you must have seen, which is called A Million Voices. So what we are trying to do, we are trying to open up this taboo subject across the globe. And we are trying to collect about 1 million voices. These are very personal voices. Do refer njpc.moon.org after the session in the evening and see if you can also fill up that particular questionnaire and motivate more people to become a voice of this campaign. This is how the processing center looks like. Whole lot of material, not only clothes, in a very systematic manner. All different kind of material, just to give you the glimpses. Old doors and windows are a big resource for a school. Old furniture is a big resource for a school. With all these 3 swing machines, which used to be a part of the dowry system in India, we are running a lot of stitching centers across the country. And none of our stitching center is actually stopped because of the lack of raw material, because we collect from urban India. Urban India, fortunately, people are growing well. So there is always a scope to learn on that big cloth to how to make it small and all that. And that's how the raw material is used. Just to give you this small example. India is a country where you have the maximum number of cataract cases and the surgeries. The lens is very cheap if you talk about India. The frame is expensive. What we do, we collect frames from all across the country. People can even courier it to us wherever we don't have center. And then we send it to the village areas where the cataract operations keep happening. If you go to Melghat in Maharashtra, Champaran in Bihar, you will find after a cataract surgery, people are getting a proper, maybe in many cases, Ray-Ban glass, just at a cost of 40 rupees as a corrective glass, just by reusing all these frames. Whole lot of material which we get, which has a value, is converted into wedding sets, and we do try to support a large number of weddings all across the country. Whatever you see this, all these colorful things, these are actually your Mata ki chunnis. All those jagrata and all those things. So that is what we get, and that we convert into gagras and other things for the wedding. So I'm just trying to showcase you that how the old discarded material, if we really use it diligently, can actually become a resource for different part of the country and different initiatives. A major product which we create, say almost about 50 different products with this trademark brand Green by Gunj. This is entire thing for the urban market, this is for rural market. This is how we, just give you the glimpses. A torn jeans can actually become a resource for so many products. See this bag. It has three major elements. One is this, your torn jeans. This is your old tie. So top of the tie is for the mobile and bottom in many cases for the pen. This layer, what you see, the black layer, or you see this product, these are your old audio and video tapes. So your favorite singers, people can recycle singers, people can recycle the plastic of the tape, people cannot recycle that voice. So what we have done, we have started weaving these entire video and audio tapes on these kind of looms, and then we reuse it. It's a very durable product, and it is a solution at least for some years for absolute e-wastage, as you call it. This is familiar to all. This particular product is called Sujni, Gudadi, Kanta, Godala in different states. The irony is that it is needed by the financially poor people. Financially poor people do not have enough to cover themselves, so somehow they make for the rich farmer and then again sleep maybe in the heap of anything. This is one major income generation activity for us in many parts of the country. The last or the leftovers of the entire material which we collect is actually turning into a major income generation activity. In the last few years, we have converted more than 3 lakh kg of absolute waste material into converting into this product. Or it's a different positioning which we do. We call it Garmi mein gadda, jado mein rajayi, which means it can be used for 12 months instead of a traditional blanket which can only be used for 2 months or 3 months maximum. Some of the recognitions which have come to us, I think the best possible recognitions from across the globe, but the regret or still the sad part that still the development sector has not understood the importance of clothing as a subject. Even today you find 150 issues, as I said, from domestic violence to global warming, but you do not find clothing written as a subject. Some more recognitions for our various initiatives and all. And my last pictures. So this is a very common picture. All of you have met this kid. Maybe the face might be different. It doesn't bother us. We often see this kid, might see sometime outside ISB also. We are very sensitive people. Often do not do anything because we have accepted the status quo. Ashtami Nomi ko we go and feed him chana and puri. On a Sunday, we go with 2 drops of anti-polio drugs and put in his mouth. So my basic question is that when you see this kid, what do you feel? What is that first sentence, first thought which comes in your mind? These are just my last 3 slides before we open up for Q&A. So I just need to understand what do you feel, what do you think about it. What is the first word which comes in your mind? बोलिए आप थोड़ा सा let's talk.
Why not education?
Why not education? What direction is the society going? Why not clothes? Bhuka bechara. What else? Nahana. Okay. Surviving with so little. Anything else? All of us are sensitive people. Please speak up. Unemployment of parents. So, kul milake, the fact remains, when we use the words or when we think about this kid, this is bhuka, nanga, bechara, garib ka bachcha, whatever. What do you have to say about this kid? The kid is still a Garib Ka Bachcha, but the kid does not look bhuka, nanga, bechara. If this is helplessness, this is some kind of confidence. A pair of cloth changes. You go to a village, you have to spend a week in understanding the village. How many of us will actually go to this person and start talking about the village and the history and all that kind of thing? How many of us will have a cup of tea with him? How many of us will stay at his place? Let's be honest. Suddenly he becomes Kaka. The wisdom comes. He is the right person to talk about the village. Tea for sure. Dinner, if nowhere else, he is the right person. We will also sleep with, in his place. Isko bolenge, inko bolenge. Our language changes. Just a pair of cloth. Just before this, suppose I was having a coffee, और वो कॉफी यदि मैं अपनी शर्ट पर गिरा लेता, this side, I am 100% sure I would have been holding the mic like this. If we wear mismatch, we are conscious. If our shirt is not ironed, we are conscious. Odisha, Nashari, as people say, drug addict, as people say, whole lot of negative words about this person. And we see a very powerful youth in him. Just a pair of cloth. That's what we are trying to do, because we often say that maybe we live with double standards, that we want to live and we want other people to survive. Thank you very much. Thank you.